Hi guys and goddesses, welcome back to another video. It's your girl, the Golden Eye.
And Justin.
And we're back decoding the history that was forced upon us because we are the indigenous people of this world and we do not identify with being African American. So we know that the most prominent figures in history class that they taught us over and over and over again is who?
Was your Martin Luther Kings, Fredrick Douglass, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, W.E. Du Bois,
all of them.
So on.
And the pattern that we was talking about with Martin Luther King and Harriet is that they changed their names. And guess who is following this pattern? Fredrick
Douglass. But his real name is Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey.
Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. Okay, y'all. So
real name.
So he said that his mama gave him this name after escaping slavery in 1938. And he said he chose the name Douglas because, you know, he changed his name from Augustus Washington Bailey to Fredrick Douglass. Mm-hmm. And he said he chose this name from being inspired by a white man named Walter Scott.
Sir Walter Scott. And he was a poet. And his famous work was Lady of the Lake. But this is a white man. And at that time, you gotta think, like, why, if we were going through slavery, why are you inspired to change your last name to a white man's last name?
Exactly. I would have been Shaka Zulu, Pooh, whoever, around this bitch before I would have changed my name back to the colonizer name. Like, that just does not make sense. Why are you so inspired by a white man? So he was married to Anna Murray Douglas from 1838 and 1882. I believe he used her as the face, like the Obamas, like how they appeared to be this certain way, and then now we don't see them no more. They ain't never together. Like it seemed, like a stage. I mean, so
he really was just starting.
Exactly, because he started his civil rights. Well, not the civil rights, his abolitionist,
abolitionist movement
in 1840. Mm-hmm. And so was that 2 years after they got married? And ironically, I said he escaped slavery in 1838. He married her in 1838, and then started his movement in 1840. Like it. And then in 1845, this is really, really weird. He traveled to Ireland and Great Britain. In 1845, he traveled to Ireland and Great Britain. Make that make sense. In 1845, he shouldn't be able to travel back and forth. Yeah, in 1845, he shouldn't be able to travel back and forth from Ireland to Britain to America, and you just escaped slavery in 1838. That just does not make sense. So I'm like, what is going on? How can I make this make sense? And so his last name, like I said, it was Bailey. The origin of Bailey, like the ancestor, that tracks back to Great Britain and Ireland. And so I'm like, okay, did he go home? Like, what is going on? So he also, when he was over there, he was inspired by this man. And I'm like, why? It was this white man, too, who apparently...
Inspired by another man, white man.
Who apparently was his inspiration for his whole abolitionist movement in America. So I'm like,
in Ireland.
I'm like, why is this man so damn important to him? In Ireland.
His name is Daniel O'Connell, and they look alike. And his mom has African ancestry or, descent, and his dad is white. So
he said it. So he said he's mixed race.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all, they look alike. Do y'all see it? The same, like, head. They look alike. And so, in 1847, he started his newsletter about abolishing slavery. It was called
The North Star. And the North Star is a star in the constellation the Little Dipper. And we all done heard about the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper. But it's kind of aligned to Earth's North Pole. Just a fact.
And so, in 1848, And so, y'all, we're talking about, and y'all probably be like, why are y'all talking about these little events? Because I want to bring things to y'all attention, because the little details in these stories matter. So you have to pay attention to these little details. So in 1848, so like I just said, in 1847, he started this newsletter. 1848, he went to a women's right convention. Listen to the dates. In 1848, he went to a women's right convention, and he was the only African American that was there. Of course you were the only African American. Because where were African Americans supposedly be? Where were they supposed to be in 1848? In slavery. How the hell did he get in an all-white party?
Traveling to Ireland and Great Britain.
During that time. And people were getting hung.
And what was
during my grandmother's time? People were getting hung.
Like, why is his story being talked about, being documented at this time where all of these horrible things are happening to our ancestors, and he living like this? Like,
what made him worthy, y'all? Because remember, think about the celebrities of today. In their history, they the ultimate celebrity. They like the gods.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. They're like the gods now. And so this women's rights convention was called
Seneca Falls.
And so my thing is, he was at a white woman's rights convention, because black women, African American women, which is supposed to be us, weren't even considered to be human. So why the hell, what the fuck is you doing? What are you doing at a white woman? I mean, y'all get it? It was during that time, but seriously, what are you doing there?
Like, we need to ask these questions.
What are you doing there?
Because this is the story they told us.
And it does not make sense if you're looking at it from our perspective. Looking at it from the African American perspective, that still don't make sense. Okay? So, but also remember, y'all, we're looking at this from an indigenous perspective. So if you get too caught up in the African American perspective, you're not going to follow where we're coming from. Right now, we're just breaking down the history that they taught us, because they taught us we're African American. This is what they taught us, but this is not who we are. So understand that we are indigenous. So we're going to get back to that. So, but this is important. So keep following us. And so,
John Brown.
Okay, in 1858, I know y'all heard about John Brown. The name should sound familiar. If you don't necessarily remember the story, it should still be like, why did that name sound familiar? Because we all learned about John Brown. Why do we all learn about John Brown? So he went to stay with John Brown because apparently in New York, Rochester. Because they was going on some type of raid to the government during that time, because he was helping with the union and shit, with Harriet Tubman as well. And John Brown, his mama and his daddy owned a house, and I believe Harriet Tubman, she used to drop off slaves there or something like that. Okay. And so I just also found it weird because all three of them connect.
Yeah,
also,
they got a connection.
I also found it weird. Like, he was a little boy too, and Harriet Tubman. Like, it's just weird. So like, what's up with that? Like, all y'all a part of the same clique, because all y'all are still being honored, like she said today. And so, where we at? Also, how did he help hide history? Why is it so important to break Fredrick Douglass down? Like, what is the point of all of this? Y'all, it's important because he helped hide our history. Because now, keep following me. Now we're looking at it from the indigenous point of view, because we know we're not African American. How do we know we're not African American? Because your grandmother didn't tell you not one slavery story. Neither did your great grandmother, and neither did her grandmother, because we were never in. Keep following me.
My great grandmother's mom was full Indian, Cherokee.
We don't look African. We don't sound African. We don't act African.
Our bone structures are different.
We don't like,
and that's okay. Yeah. It's okay to be different.
We're Caribbean,
right?
But anyways, so how did he help hide history? What did he do?
His newsletter, the North Star, it was propaganda. It was like their media at the time. Like how we have our media now that programs us through everything. It was their media at the time, and putting us in this slavery suppression energy.
And also, he was documenting it.
Yeah.
He was documenting their history in that time. So that way today, they will be able to teach it to us. Yeah. Because also during that time, they were burning down our cities.
There was a lot going on at the time. It wasn't just Fredrick Douglas.
Look up the Great Fires in the 1800s. Because remember, this is 1838, 1845, all that around that time. Look up the Great Fires, the mud floods. This is what was happening.
Go look at the World's Fairs first. Go on Pinterest and just look up World's Fair Chicago, World's Fair St. Louis. And these are the places that they were... Yeah, these are the places that they were burning. They left certain buildings. That's why we still have them in our downtowns and just all over, our towns now.
All of our downtowns have these energy. What is it? You can cipher non-ether buildings. All of our downtowns have these places, and we're not questioning these things. Look at the detail on some of these buildings. All they did was infiltrate it. They could not repeat it. So our shit is either being lost forever, or it's like what is it called? They got it locked down in history. Either it's the government buildings or
courthouses,
right? Or
just all of these matrix
history
maintainers.
Yeah, like we don't have access to
our building,
right?
Because you said they have like Mayan symbols on
them. They do.
Sun symbols. Y'all,
look at these buildings. Seriously.
And so he hid the history.
So yes, what history necessarily was he hiding? Like we said, we talked about the World Fairs. But the history that he truly was hiding, because who were these people that built these buildings? Who was these people? Y'all, the Louisiana Purchase. Y'all, the Haitians. Y'all, we gotta look back into, retrack back history and ask ourselves what happened, and put these pieces together, and not just listen to what they're telling us. Let's actually go look these things up and make this shit make sense to us. Stop listening to their version of it, because they're gonna sugarcoat their version of it. Just like they said it was slavery. That shit was kidnapping. We were prisoners of war. They kidnapped us because we were already here. So they telling us this book, and we already know that. So but we're listening to them. Same thing how they introduced Christianity to us. Come on, we gotta retrack everything. And so we already know that the first war, what is it called? The Great Invasion from 14.
Was that the revolution, or the Revolutionary was in the 1700s, wasn't it?
But I feel like it's the same thing. 1492 to 1775 or 1776. But I believe during that time, that was when the whole world came and attacked America, and people gonna be like, that didn't happen. Yes, it did.
Because that's how you have your colonies now. That's how Britain owned colonies in the Caribbean and in Canada, and how you got French owning colonies in all these fucking colonies. How can you be on one landmass but you own that landmass too?
Spain didn't motherfucking big. How the fuck did Spain own all of
Texas, California,
does not
Mexico?
Make sense. The whole world came and fought against us, y'all. Come on, y'all. And they told us in history, and we looked over it, because we're looking at it from the perspective of being African American, but we're not African American. We were already here, so they came and fought us, right? Okay, so that's important. So what happened with the Louisiana Purchase? Because I keep talking about the Louisiana, I keep talking about the Haitians. What happened with the Louisiana Purchase, y'all? And what do Haiti got to do with this? Who?
Christopher Columbus. They said when he got to the Americas, he ended up in the Bahamas, and then he went from the Bahamas to Haiti, Cuba at the time.
And where did he land?
He did not land on mainland.
And where did he land? But they said he landed where? He discovered who?
He's discovered
the where? The Americas, right? The Americas. So that would mean, what islands consist of being the Americas? Haiti, Bahamas, Puerto Rico, all them.
Puerto Rico, Saint Martin,
all of that. Come on, y'all. The Americans. We are Caribbean. But anyways, so this is important, y'all. Okay, so remember, y'all, the 13 colonies was trying to expand west. How did they expand west? How did they gain majority of their land, y'all? the Louisiana Purchase. But there's some flaw in that. Because remember, in 1803, the French surrendered in Haiti because they lost the war. They was fucking them up.
They so-called
claimed
that Haiti and La Louisiana were theirs. I hate that because can't nobody claim shit. But they got their ass beat.
Okay, so if they surrendered, right, in Haiti, and they had control of La Louisiana and Haiti, which was the Americas at that time. So when they surrendered in Haiti, then they lost. So the part of that they owned came back to us. We were never conquered. So in
the United States was over there.
Exactly. They never expanded west. That's the whole East Coast, West Coast. Anyways, but in 1865, they're talking about slavery, but we were never a part of that because in 1868, a Haitian empire owned this, y'all. We never was conquered. We never went through none of that stuff that they're talking about, y'all.
It's a Haitian man, John Baptiste, he found Chicago. Now go look at the Chicago World Fair. Yeah. That Creole, that French shit, that's our shit.
Come on, y'all. So we were never conquered. They're lying. So we are prisoners of war. They're holding us like we're in their system because basically like we're choosing to be, like the whole birth certificate thing, like we're choosing to be. We're sovereign beings of this land, y'all. We're indigenous to this land, y'all. Their laws don't apply to us. Okay. So y'all like, okay, so what does Fredrick Douglas have to do with this? Let me tell you, Fredrick Douglas helped cover up. Remember we were talking about how in the beginning, how the whole world attacked the Americas? Not just the United, this part. The whole Americas this was our whole land because everybody is black, y'all, for real.
Go back and look at what colonies the French and the Great Britain, look what they own. Those were the fights.
It was called the War of Seven Nations. And from 1492 to 1775, which also you could think about, what was that war they call American Revolution? The Revolutionary War, something like that.
Revolutionary War.
And that was from
14. What? I keep getting that messed up. I think it is 17.
Is it? They say from 1775 to 1783. But whatever. But the evidence is that we know they all came over here claiming land. How did they come over here claiming land when people were already over here? So what did they do? And we know that a lot of the people, just like the Tiano people, we were talking about the Haitians, they claim, even though that's not true, they claim that a lot of them died off from diseases and war and all of that. So we already know that they came over here warring to get this land. So what does that mean? They all came over here together and fought us. Yep. So use your common sense. Don't look at it from the perspective that they're trying to get you to see it. Because of course they're going to want you to sugarcoat it. Because remember, y'all, the law of the universe? They have to tell us what they did. They have to tell us. If not, then yeah, I ain't going to get in that. Y'all whatever. But, so look up the War of Seven Nations. And so, like I said, the Haitian Empire had control over this part in 1868. And during that time, Fredrick Douglass was covering up the mud floods, covering up the great fires, covering up the lynchings and all of the horrible things they were doing to the indigenous people.
And he's just labeling it as slavery, or he's not, labeling it, but he's pushing that narrative of struggle. Like, okay, if all this was going on, like, why are we writing in a newsletter about it?
And of course you'll be like, well, who was he writing this for? Because if they all fought against us, why would they care? They don't care. He wasn't writing it for them. He was writing it for us. He was writing it for our generation so we would forget to fight. So we would stop fighting them.
And stop questioning.
To make us docile. Because they were still fighting at that time when we not our ancestors. You ain't your ancestor. You ain't my ancestor. That African, yeah, you right. You're not my ancestors because my ancestors never stopped fighting.
Right.
So, remember when we talked about the Civil War? Okay, and so y'all remember during this time, the Civil War was going on. You know, because it started in It started in the 1850s, but it was documented in the 1860s. Which is how Harriet Tubman, she was freeing the slaves to the Union. You know, kidnapping the slave. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, so do y'all know that it was fought between the Confederate and the United States, and we all know that the Confederate was not a part of the United States because they were fighting to come into union, right? So they could be the United States of America, right? Because they were just the 13 colonies at that time. So the Confederate, y'all, was us.
The whole South.
The whole time, y'all. The Confederate was us, which is important to know that the La Louisiana Purchase, all of this was a part of that. It was us, and we were still fighting. So a part of our land during that time, it was getting conquered by them. Because when the French left out, they said, "Hey, y'all, free game, do whatever." Because I'm taking my hands off of it. I ain't finna keep getting my hands full.
I don't even be believing all that. They all just teamed up. They just got help.
That's true. That's true. They did get help. They couldn't conquer the Haitians on that island, and they kept them quiet, which is why nobody knew. And so, they all just teamed up on the Americas in the middle, and which was us.
Yep.
And so. Yeah, so they expanded westward by propaganda, getting to just like how they doing now, and just like how they're burning down the shit, like these great fires. Oh my God, these are fires! Whole time they're doing that. It's literally happening now, pushing us out of our cities, killing our black men, putting in systems like it's just slowly integrating new systems to get you. Pulled in. Y'all know Tyler Perry. He was on the BET Awards talking about they're taking the books out of our history and They need to. It's not our history. Right. So
I was just gonna say. Meanwhile, all of this stuff is going on, but they are programming you with what they want you to see. They don't want you to look at what's going on. They want you to pay attention to the celebrities and who they are putting in your face
and what the celebrities want you to pay attention to.
Yep.
The whole time, that's not our history.
No.
So we shouldn't care if they take it out of the history books. Because it was history we shouldn't have even learned in the first place. It's history why we have trauma. They're programming trauma into us with these slavery movies, with all of these things.
Suffering and suppression.
The damn movie he just made. It's not our history. So, y'all remember the Confederate, right? So it's important to remember that the Confederate was not a part of the United States. I'm mentioning the Confederate because around this time, the Civil War, that's apparently when we became free. So it's important to break down the Civil War, what's happening during this time, which is why I was mentioning it during, the Harriet Tubman video. So, like I said, the Confederate. Apparently, y'all, the Confederate was us. That symbol is on the Abraham book, Assumptions Matter. And that's hieroglyphics. Keep that in mind. And the symbol is also, where else did I see the symbol? Oh, it's on an Indian, I found it on an Indian photo, y'all. But that symbol is from us. Remember how my sister Kishi been saying this all week, ain't nothing new under the sun. Y'all, they flipped it. So, remember how I said they're writing history, right? So during that time, he's writing history, documenting history. And then during the 50s, when they integrated the schools, in 1957, they integrated the schools, they taught this history to us. And they flipped it, though, because they didn't want us to remember that
That's our shit. Come on. The fact that they just wrote it, like, not too long ago, and now they teaching it, like... That is some crazy shit. Like, y'all rushed.
And we know that they are part of the McGraw Hill,
Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's confidant, her dad.
I know y'all know that McGraw Hill textbook. I'm gonna insert it. It's right here. It's right here. I'm gonna put it right here. But yeah. So they're a part of what? Are they Jewish?
Yes. But her dad had dealings with that textbook company, and they're Jewish. He was a Jewish spy, and y'all need to look into the relationship between America and Israel.
I got a video about that.
In politics.
I got a video about that. Go look it up. I'll pin it when I make this one, just so it'll, you know, be side by side, so it'll make sense. But still, all of this shit is connected. Mm-hmm. And so back to that being a hieroglyphic symbol, because we were like, what does hieroglyphic got to do with y'all? First of all, do you understand? Okay, so La Louisiana, right? So we know La Louisiana was La Floridia, right? We also know La Floridia was Tamari. Okay, so Tamari, where did that come from? Kemet, not Egypt, because we know the name Egypt is a Arabic name.
It's named after Ptah, Semitic word for Misir, which it means metropolis, and then that turns into Mesopotamia. And Mesopotamia was like northern Africa, Asia, Turkey, Russia, all of that.
So it dates back to the Asians. We know that it's not the original name. So that's we'll give you the background of the name. And so the reason they call the United States of America the United States of America is because it was the United States. Remember I said the 13 colonies of Tamari. So they wrote us into their history, because remember they suppressed the Haitians, and they told, okay, be quiet. We ain't gonna let nobody know about them, which is why they can completely taking them out of the trade, everything. Like they do them dirty type shit. And so they kept them quiet, and they supposedly had sold us the Louisiana Purchase to the United States in 1803, but no, they didn't, because we know the French owned the Louisiana, this area, Haiti, and all of that. And they gave it to the Spain. They gave it to Spain, why? Because they was getting their ass beat. Spain gave it back to French, why? Because they was getting their ass beat. And so, they got their ass beat. We never got conquered.
Mm-hmm. So they say they sold it to the
And
U.S.
so, the Confederate was still the ones who we weren't conquered. So, of course we wasn't trying to be a part of no, what you talking about, you know? And so, what they did was, Fredrick Douglass, during that time, he documented history, flipped it, and fed it to the grandchildren of the children during that time. Because remember, the children of that time were warring. They didn't have time to worry about what somebody else was doing in the background. Mm-hmm. To program, because they got a whole plan going on, you know. And we're just trying to defend. Well, what was it, defense? But
because we didn't, you know, they invaded us.
Right.
And they say we've always been a peaceful people. Like, that's been said so many times in history. It's the United States of the stolen lands of Tamari. That's what it is. And that's why they call us the United States of America. Because they're the United States of Tamari, America. And they have to tell you the truth.
Because remember, they were the United States at first. They called themselves the United States, the 13 colonies. They didn't call themselves the United States of America. Why all of a sudden? Come on. Okay. And so, something else we got to keep in mind. Why the Indians and the Egyptians are the only two type, the Mayans, the Aztec, all the people, their ruins are still here, but they disappeared. We just talked about how Egypt, the Egyptians, that name is Arabic. So, the ones who call themselves Egyptian are who? Arabic. Mm-hmm. So, they're not the Kemet, they're not the ones who inscribed those,
people didn't, they weren't the ones that put the hieroglyphs on all of our old, you know, just everything that we see hieroglyphs on. And even they found hieroglyphs in the Grand Canyon that they don't want to talk about.
They found ruins of King Tut in the Arkansas Valley, which is the Mississippi River, and we all know that the Mississippi River is said to be the Nile River based off of the streams that were described in the Bible. But and so, like we were saying, we were you know, so the Egyptian name is Arabic. Mm-hmm. So we know that the people in the Egyptians are Arabic. So so you got that right. So that's connecting that back to Asia, because you know they're from Mesopotamia. Mm-hmm. And so
you can look up a map of Mesopotamia. You put that in there too.
And so we know that's them. And like I said, the Caucasians are here as well. And you know, and they're giving us the African American history. They're forcing that on us. And then who else is helping hide our history? The Native Americans. And where did we find out they're from? They're from Siberia. So So where is Siberia? Siberia is in Asia. Just like, why are they called the Caucasians? Because they came from the Caucasus Mountains. And we're Asia. And so all of them, y'all, are the same people who came out of the mountains. All of them. They're the same people. They are the Caucasians playing different roles. They destiny swapped with us.
They definitely destiny swapped.
And so
And got us thinking we was took from another land, Lord.
and any higher up person who is doing, you know, Fredrick Douglas and Martin Luther Kings and all of these people who are the celebrities, you know, now like we were like selling their souls, they're part of the boule. They're part of the boule. And if you don't know what that is, go look it up.
The black boule. It's true. That's the African American propaganda, huh?
Right.
The boule.
They came over here. The Asians were slaves. The Siberians. So they were slaves. We had them as slaves. And they teamed up with them to play the Native Americans. They were slaves. The black and white symbol on that represent a prisoner came from us. And we painted them because they were our slaves. Yep. Yep.